Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Benjamin Goldfien, fellow CPCU and RPLU, as in I am also CPCU, not an RPLU. Benjamin is VP of Insurance Operations at Sayata. Benjamin, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thank you. It's going great. It's Friday.
Yeah, we're recording Friday late in the afternoon and just before Thanksgiving week. So we might be the only people in the industry still working
Yeah,
at
for
this time.
sure.
I have definitely noticed that email and even LinkedIn have become a lot quieter in the last couple of days as a lot of people go on vacation or really lower down. Uh, so Sayana, we for the listeners, we had Upasana Uni, the chief commercial officer at Sayata, on episode 343 about a year ago. I will include that in the show notes. And based on my quick notes from last year, uh, Sayata is basically she described it as the easiest place for wholesale insurance brokers to place business insurance for small commercial risks. So today we're
Good
doing a.
explanation. Yeah.
Is it a good explanation? Is it
Yeah.
still a good explanation? Okay, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
So
Even
today,
easier.
today we're doing a bit of an update. Uh, so how are things going at Sayata? What are you guys focused on nowadays?
Sure. We're still, our core business was started with cyber. Um, and, and we're still cranking along on cyber now. I think probably the last time you spoke, we maybe had 8 carriers. Now we're looking at 10. We also have multiple lines. We have Tech E&O, MPL, and we are working in GL BOP.
Oh,
So, yeah.
okay. So you've expanded past cyber into GL and Bob.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So
Yep.
so so I'm for small commercial that should cover that's a significant expansion because cyber is so specialized. GL and Bob are kind of the bulk of small commercial.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's what we've seen, and you know, part of our business is making it easier for brokers to place the business, and we see that there's difficulty in that realm, especially with some of the carriers, some of the platforms that people have to deal with. We work very hard on making our platform as easy as possible for you to get quotes, business bound, and the like. So, we saw a need for brokers to have an easy place to place that type of business. So that's where we move towards.
Kept and when I chatted with Basana, she shared that it had been 10x growth in 2021. Uh, so 2022 and 2023. I know we're not done to 23 yet, but is growth still that exponential, or has it stabilized given the larger size?
Yeah, I mean we're still growing. Market changes change the growth, but we're still putting new business on the books all the time. We're signing new brokers on. Now, it's less of a convincing brokers like, hey, you should use us, to more of brokers coming to us and saying, hey, we heard about you. Let us get on your platform and start writing business. So, I've been here since the beginning. I was the first U.S. hire. So, I saw it from its infant stages where, we were out there explaining what we were trying to do and convincing people to use us, to now we're to the point where people again know who we are and are calling us to be like, hey, we want to use what you have.
That's fantastic. And according to my notes from the conversation with her, uh, it's basically a small fee for the brokers for each piece of
Yeah.
business.
It's for, yeah, we charge a small fee on bound business. So to use the platform is free. Once you bind an account, there's a fee on it, and
And
it's pretty low. So
and that uh, that model, is it common among MGAs or
I would say we're not our our we're not common. Okay, so there hasn't been anyone like us that I knew of beforehand. Now there are some, trying in the marketplace now, but yeah, I mean everybody, you know, wholesalers, MGAs, a lot of them charge a policy fee. We just put ours in to keep it running.
okay? But the fact that it's only on bound business,
Yeah.
like my understanding of the NGA model is has it always been just on bound business in the NGA model in general?
Yeah, I mean, generally, even in the brokerage model, you're only getting paid on business you bind, right? Like even if you're a retail broker, doing auto insurance for say like Tony, right? They're only going to get paid if you bind
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the way we look at it. We do have our platform gives multiple quotes for multiple carriers. We get indications to you within seconds of you putting it in of minimal information. So that is a benefit to the brokerage, and then once they bind, that's when we get paid.
Okay, and then the indication within seconds, uh, that's the case not just for cyber, also for property and BOP.
Yeah, I mean that's how we do it. You put in the information. So to take a step back, I was a broker for a little while. I mostly came from the carrier side, but I was a broker for a little while, and what I used to write was small business like D&O, right? So we had platforms at the time. It wasn't that long ago, right? So there were platforms that I can get on at the time, and what would happen is you come in, you log into the first platform, you put all the information in, get the quote. Then you log into the second platform. You put all the same information in, you get the next quote. Log into the third platform, and so on. Typically 3 quotes was the minimum that we would get,
Yeah, it's not
and
profitable in
that
small
that took.
commercial.
Yeah, I mean exactly. It's not a profitable model. In order to do that over and over again to make money on this takes forever. So what we built is a platform. You log in once, you put the information in once, and you can get up to 8 quotes. And we also give you like a marketing booklet almost. It's a marketing sheet, and in that it has everything you need to bind. The app, a fillable app. It has the actual quote document as well as like a side by side comparison. So it cuts down the broker's time exponentially in doing the business. Uh, it makes it more profitable for them on that side. And then, for the carriers, a broker may only want to log into two portals in a day or three. So if you're not one of the first 2 or 3, you miss out. Now the carriers are seeing business probably they haven't seen because of the ease of getting the information to them. So it's a win-win-win. When you see that in insurance, that's a good thing. You always want everybody to be benefiting from the experience, and that's what we found.
From the carrier perspective, the fear has always been, I don't want to play only on price,
Right.
right? So
But I
yeah,
mean, you're looking at small business. You know, we do show a side by side, so it's not necessarily just we're not just giving you a price and
okay. So the side by side
brokers do make
shows how my coverage might be better.
yeah how it matches up and
Perfect.
so I mean, but what we've seen a lot is the clients do want price. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's
of course.
it's a major factor, but yeah, we the carriers want you to sell the product, and they do, um, but as long as the price is right too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That always wins out a lot of times.
well, in small commercial, insurance is the last thing they're thinking of, right? They're getting it because they have to last second once they have to, kind of
Yeah,
thing. And for the brokers,
contracts.
yeah, exactly. A contract is forcing them to get it. They don't have a full time risk manager. and for the broker, the amount of time they can dedicate to it when the premium is low is low. So it is definitely a numbers game.
It's brokers and carriers too. I mean, I started out underwriting small business A&E, and I would underwrite maybe 20 accounts a day, just plugging it in to the spreadsheet, making the quote document, sending it out 20 accounts a day. We bind maybe two or three of them a day. Um, and there was 10 of us that did it. Now with the technologies that are out there, they can quote hundreds in hours, right? Like in an hour, you can quote a couple of hundred accounts. So from a carrier's perspective, they want this digital kind of distribution as well. And even though they want to be out there, pounding the drum that they're the better mousetrap, really the best way to do that is to get your quotes in front of people. You can say you're the best carrier in the world, but if no one's getting your quotes, it doesn't matter. Right. So in the small commercial, even for the carriers, it doesn't make sense to devote tons and tons of people to doing it. But you have to. You have to. I mean, you have to get that volume to bind. So the digital kind of distribution model is. I know the wheels of insurance move slowly, right? But I think a lot more carriers are seeing the benefit of that, from even personnel to even just getting good business on the books in a quick manner.
So I'm really curious. So you were the first employee in the U.S. for Sayata, right?
Yep.
Sayata is Israeli based, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
Uh,
Correct.
so you CPCU, RPLU, it looks like you were in a comfortable role at a great carrier as a senior underwriter. Why, like what convinced you to, what got you so excited about Sayata to leave that very comfortable world?
Yeah. What I'll say is I could even tell you the first time I met with the founders talking about it, I walked in and they pitched. They said they wanted to build a platform where you can get multiple quotes in a matter of seconds with minimal information. And my brain immediately went back to the days where I was a wholesale broker, where I had to do these small D&O accounts, and I think they were mostly for like yacht clubs. And everyone I had to get three quotes, and I had to put this whole thing together. And I'm like, if you could do that for brokers, brokers are going to love it. They're just going to love it. It's going to take off like wildfire. Um, you know, and at the time, I don't know that we even had a carrier on board. We didn't have a broker on board. They were just pitching the idea, and the idea alone, in my head, I was like, that's going to be amazing. Let me get in on the ground floor of that and see how it goes. And I remember them telling me this was in December, end of December. So I'm actually coming on 4 years now. They were like, we want to write our first policy by end of January. Right? No carriers, no brokers. I'm like, there's
No
no
platform.
way yeah, I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen, but let's see. And to be fair, I mean, our first policy, I think, was end of February. And I mean, that to me, I was thinking maybe like June, July, but we did it. We didn't hit January, but I mean, in my mind, that was like
Incredible.
close enough. Yeah, incredible. And then it just took off from there, um, and it just has not stopped. It's just been like a freight train. And like I said, I started. It was just me doing everything, and now I have a team of 10 people, and even that we have a lot going on. So, it's growing exponentially. And the idea and the fact that I would get to like have input. I was at a pretty good company, large company that's been around for a long time, and I was underwriting, and day in day out was all kind of the same. You know, I wrote small business at some point. My last job, I was doing Fortune 100 companies, so I mean, it were large accounts, traveling, visiting with CEOs of these accounts. But even that, I was kind of like, I wanted to try something new, and like I said, when they pitched that idea to me, I'm like, that's an amazing idea. And at the time, there wasn't anybody doing it. The carriers didn't have portals. A lot of them didn't. There was a couple of MGUs starting up that are pretty big names now, but 4 years ago they weren't, and they were eager to get on something like this, and it was fun. It was a lot of learning on the job. I basically had to set up an agency in the U.S. and in a very quick amount of time, and we did it. Um, and yeah, and it took off. I mean, it could have gone either way, to be honest, right? You never know with these things. But like I said, I think the idea was such that if we can pull it off, I don't know any broker or CSR sitting in an office right now that doesn't love the idea that they can just put in minimal information and get a ton of quotes. And as we open up more lines and we um, open up to new businesses, that only gets better.
Yeah, I agreed. I get asked often by traditional insurance people who are tempted to go into insurtech if they should, and you're right. It could have gone either way, right? But what I always tell them is if you have a good parachute on your back, and what I define that as, you've got some solid experience in the traditional insurance world, you've got your CPCU, you're eminently employable as an underwriter,
Yeah.
right? Like worst case scenario, you go there, it doesn't work out, you're back in a couple of years with new experience,
Right.
and we will always have demand for experienced commercial lines underwriters with a CPCU in hand. So
Yeah, what I always tell people too, because I've hired a bunch of people, um, you know, I've worked at the large company. I've worked at some of the largest insurance carriers, and like you can have a great idea and you can pitch it, and it will go nowhere, right? Like it has to go through 50 levels of management, and if you're lucky, maybe someday it gets implemented and you get a pat on the back or whatever. Whereas in an insurtech in here, like even everyone on my team has the ability to pitch ideas, and a lot of them come to fruition in weeks, months time. Um, and it's a great feeling to be like, I think we should do it this way, and then a couple of weeks later, we're doing it that way and seeing it work, right? And I enjoy that. Being in a old timey insurance company where you're still rating things in Excel that was built maybe 20 years ago, um, gets a little stale after a while. But coming into an insurtech and everybody's doing something a little different, right? And just learning that, bringing I always say like the old school insurance knowledge to a new way of thinking is interesting and fun. It makes every day interesting, and even the days that I wish didn't happen are always like more interesting than the best
well,
days.
at 4 years, you're an insurtech veteran now.
Yeah, it seems to be, right? Like, yeah, I am, right? At 4 years, and when I took the job, I was like, I hope this lasts long. Because at the time, like I said, we had not, like, we had a basic shell, and we were just starting to get carriers involved, and we were just starting to get brokers involved, and you know, the first couple of meetings were kind of like, okay. And then as soon as like one person got it, right? And then it started just flowing. And then it was like, we were off to the races. We went from like binding one account to then binding 30 accounts to then the next month 50 and then 100. And then it just flew from there. I remember the first account we bound, I was actually on vacation, but I had my laptop with me because, again, I'm the only one on the U.S. side, and I remember binding it and just being like, "Oh my god, we bound one!" And then like 2 days later, we got three more, and then it just started rolling in, and like I said, like nonstop freight train.
Fantastic. For the brokers that are interested in checking you guys out, what's the best way to try you out? How do they sign up?
So, I mean, you can go on the Sayata website and put in a request. We have business development people that are out there always looking for new wholesale brokers sign up. And like I said, there's not much to lose because you only pay us if you bind. There's no like subscription fees or anything like that. So it's really just a matter of how fast you can get us, you know, some information, and then you're on. And then if you use it and don't like it, there's no problem getting off. But I mean, most of the time we see people use it and then use it more. They put in a couple of accounts. Maybe some of them are kind of bad accounts and they don't get much, but then they get that one account where they get a quote, and then they're like, "Oh my god, I bound it!" And now it's super simple, and now I'm going to start putting more on, and that's just how we grow. But just ask, telling us you're interested is a good way to start, right? That's really the way we do it. Yeah, and like I said, give it a try, and if it's not your cup of tea, it's not. But like I said, we have a lot of brokers that came on skeptically at first, and now they're some of our power users, I would say, where we're getting accounts, you know, by the minute they're putting in stuff. So it turned out to be a really good model and a good idea.
Excellent, excellent.
Not just me thinking it.
Thank you for sharing the story of how you ended up there. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time today. Looking forward to
Sure.
see you guys continue to grow. Uh, and yeah, thank you for sharing kind of the backstory of how you ended up there.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right.